My dear friend, you and I are players in a most curious game, the game of life. The rules are invisible, the rewards intangible, and yet every move you make shapes your destiny. In my day, women wore long skirts and whispered about things like fate and fortune. Today, you scroll, you rush, you plan. But the same laws govern both our worlds. Whether you hold a fan or a phone, you are still a creator. You still speak your world into being. The truth, you see, has never gone out of fashion. When I wrote The Game of Life and How to Play It, I discovered that life is not a battle, but a game of intuition, faith, and spiritual law. A game in which your word is your wand, and your imagination the board upon which you play. Most people play unconsciously. They let fear dictate their moves. They say, "I always fail," or "money is scarce," and the universe, obedient servant that it is, answers, "As you wish." But the awakened player learns that every spoken word is a command. Every belief is a blueprint. Every emotion is a signal to the unseen forces that shape form from thought. You might call it vibration today, or alignment, or energy work. I called it divine law. It matters little what we name it, for the law does not bend to language. It bends to belief. And so, my dear listener, if you would win the game of life, you must learn to play by the higher rules, not the rules of fear and struggle, but the laws of spirit and supply. The first rule is simple. Whatever you impress upon the subconscious mind shall manifest. If you believe in lack, you will live in a state of lack. If you believe in abundance, you will walk in abundance. The subconscious does not reason, it obeys. It takes your word, spoken with faith or fear, and builds your world accordingly. So guard your tongue, for it is a builder. Speak only of what you wish to see. Declare yourself rich, healthy, loved, and guided, and you will find invisible doors swinging open where walls once stood. I often said, there is no such thing as chance. Everything that happens has been called forth by the picture you hold within. The delays, the detours, even the disappointments, all are part of the divine design when you walk by faith. You are not here to struggle and strain, but to align and allow. For when you play the game with understanding, you discover that life is rigged in your favor. And now, as we begin this lesson together, I ask you to listen not merely with your mind, but with your spirit. Because you already know these truths. You were born knowing them. My task is not to teach you, but to remind you that you are not a pawn in this game, but a player. The law of prosperity and the power of the spoken word. If you wish to master this game, you must first learn the sacred art of speech. Words are not mere sounds. They are vibrations clothed in syllables, alive with creative force. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word is still the beginning of everything. You may think of speech as ordinary, but every time you speak, you set invisible energy into motion. You either speak life or you speak limitation. You either bless your path or block it. And so, I ask, what have your words been creating for you? When I said, your word is your wand, I meant it quite literally. The tongue is a tiny thing, yet it holds the power to summon fortune or failure. In my own life, I saw this law proven countless times. A woman once came to me in despair, saying, "Florence, I have no money. I can't pay my rent. Everything I try fails." I looked at her gently and said, "Then, my dear, you must change your words, for your speech has been giving orders to poverty." I instructed her to declare, with conviction, "Infinite Spirit, open the way for my immediate supply. Let all that is mine by divine right now reach me in perfect order." She repeated it daily, not as a desperate plea, but as a decree of truth. Within a week, unexpected funds arrived, her rent was paid, and she began to live under a new law, the law of faith rather than fear. You see, the universe is not withholding your good. It is waiting for your permission to deliver it. Every lack begins with an unspoken belief in separation. Every abundance begins with a remembrance of unity, that you and your good are one. The law of prosperity is not a law of hustle or striving. It is the law of spiritual alignment. You do not chase supply. You align with it through your inner conviction. You need not demand what is already yours. You need only affirm it and allow it to unfold. Say to yourself, everything I require comes to me in divine order. My path is guided, and my supply is sure. There is nothing mystical about this. It is as natural as gravity. The difference is that most people live by the law of averages, while the wise live by the law of spirit. Faith is the invisible currency of this game. It is what moves unseen forces into action. And faith does not beg. It knows. To say, I hope it happens, is to confess doubt. But to say, it is done, is to activate divine certainty. So, the question is never whether the law is working. The question is always, what have you been impressing upon it? You might say, but Florence, what if I've been speaking lack for years? What if my thoughts have been a tangle of worry and doubt? To that I say, thank heaven that every wrong word can be revoked. Every false belief can be erased. The law does not hold grudges. It only obeys your latest command. If you have spoken fear, speak faith now. If you have believed in struggle, believe in ease now. Declare yourself free, and the universe will rearrange itself to match your new decree. Remember, every time you choose faith over fear, you rewrite your future. The law of non-resistance, letting the divine design unfold. Now let us turn to one of the most misunderstood laws, the law of non-resistance. When I speak of non-resistance, I do not mean apathy or inaction. I mean the quiet inner poise that comes from trusting divine order. The moment you resist life, fight circumstances, curse delays, resent others, you tie yourself in knots. You block your own good, as surely as a kink blocks a garden hose. But when you release your grip, when you bless what is, and allow what is becoming, the waters of spirit flow again. You may not see it yet, but everything is working in your favor, even the obstacles. Every closed door conceals a redirection. Every delay conceals divine timing. A young man once told me, Miss Shinn, I was meant to receive a promotion, but my manager gave it to someone else. It's unfair. I smiled and said, if it were yours by divine right, nothing could keep it from you. If it has been withheld, it was never yours to begin with. But something better is already on the way. 2 months later, he was offered a position at another firm, double the salary, closer to his home. That is how divine order works. It does not require struggle. It requires surrender. When you meet opposition, bless it. When people wrong you, release them. The law of non-resistance will return your peace, and peace always precedes your miracle. You cannot play the game of life well if you insist on being the only player. You must make room for the unseen team, spirit, intuition, and the infinite intelligence that orchestrates all things. I often said, no man is your enemy, no man is your friend, every man is your teacher. So when you meet a difficult person, thank them silently, for they are revealing your unfinished lessons. When the lesson is learned, the situation will vanish. If you want to move mountains, stop pushing them. Speak to them, bless them, see them dissolve. You do not win by resistance, but by resonance. You cannot curse one thing and attract its opposite. So bless your debts, bless your disappointments, bless the very people who have challenged you. In doing so, you untangle yourself from the lower game and move into the higher one. That is how non-resistance transforms your world, not by changing outer things first, but by restoring inner harmony, intuition, divine guidance, and miraculous timing. If there is one faculty every player must learn to trust, it is intuition. The intellect can analyze, compare, and reason, but intuition knows. It is the whisper of the infinite within you, the still small voice that says, this way. When I was a young illustrator in New York, my rational mind often said, you must take that commission or you will go hungry. Yet the inner voice would whisper, no, something better awaits. Whenever I obeyed that whisper, my path unfolded with astonishing grace. But when I ignored it, I paid tuition to the school of experience. Intuition never argues. It simply presents truth in quiet certainty. When you hesitate, it withdraws, waiting until you are still enough to hear again. You live in an age of constant noise, screens, chatter, and the endless hum of other people's opinions. But intuition speaks only in silence. You cannot scroll your way to divine guidance. You must listen for it. To cultivate intuition, spend moments each day in a state of sacred stillness. Ask clearly, Spirit, what is mine to do? Then release the question. Do not strain for an answer. Let it rise like a bubble in clear water. The answer may come as a feeling, a phrase, a sudden knowing, or an effortless coincidence. Divine direction rarely arrives through logic. It arrives through alignment. Once you begin to obey your intuition, life becomes orchestrated in a way that the world calls luck. Doors open in perfect timing. People appear just when you need them. Even delays become blessings in disguise. I recall a woman who desired a certain apartment. She affirmed daily, "That home is mine by divine right." But another tenant secured it first. Rather than despair, she blessed the outcome and declared, "If not this, then something better." Weeks later, the first tenant unexpectedly broke the lease. She moved in and discovered that the delay allowed repairs that would have been costly to her. Divine timing again, proving its quiet genius. When you walk by faith, you live in rhythm with the unseen. You discover that what you call a miracle is simply the natural outcome of spiritual order. Faith is never frantic. It is peaceful expectancy. You do not rush the harvest, you prepare the soil. So, my friend, the next time you face uncertainty, still your mind and say, "Infinite Spirit, open the way. Reveal the next right step and give me the courage to follow." Then take the steps shown. The game of life is not won by speed, but by surrender. When you move in harmony with intuition, you move with the current of creation itself, living by divine design, becoming a conscious player. Now that you know the rules, let us speak of the divine design, the higher blueprint of your life. Every soul comes to earth with a pattern of perfect fulfillment. It is not imposed from without. It is encoded within. When you follow intuition and faith, you align with that pattern. When you resist or doubt, you step out of rhythm, but never beyond redemption. Your design encompasses joy, abundance, health, fulfilling work, and harmonious relationships. The universe does not play favorites, it plays frequencies. The moment you declare, "I am in tune with the divine design of my life," invisible lines of force begin rearranging your world. Wrong conditions fade, right conditions appear. I once compared it to tuning a radio. The music has always been playing, but you must turn the dial to the right station. Faith is the dial. Gratitude keeps it steady. Gratitude, my dear friend, is magnetic. It multiplies whatever it touches. When you thank life in advance, you send forth a vibration of completion, and the law must fulfill it. Say often, "I give thanks for my perfect health, perfect wealth, perfect self-expression, and perfect joy." All of these now manifest under grace in miraculous ways. When you speak thus, you step into your divine design. Now, some will say, "Florence, what if I fail again? What if my faith falters?" Then begin anew, for every sunrise is a reset. The law does not punish. It patiently awaits your recognition. Failure, you see, is only feedback. It tells you where you have been playing by the world's rules instead of Spirit's. When you truly grasp that life is a game, not a grind, you lose your fear. You stop clinging to outcomes. You learn to play joyfully, expecting good, knowing that all apparent losses are but delayed wins. So, as you move through your modern world, with its traffic and screens and endless lists, remember this: the game of life is always played inwardly first. Before you send the email, send the vibration. Before you chase the opportunity, call it forth with your word. Before you worry, whisper, "Divine order now takes charge of this situation." Then watch how swiftly things fall into place. You were never meant to play small. You are an expression of infinite spirit, moving through form for the sheer joy of creation. Every dream you hold sincerely is already known by the divine design. You would not desire it if it were not meant to be realized through you. So claim it, calmly, confidently, joyfully. Stand tall in the knowing that you are always guided, always supplied, always loved. And should you ever forget, return to this simple truth. Life is a game, and I am learning to play it according to divine law. I am fearless in faith and fearless in love, for I know that what is mine by divine right can never be lost, and what is not mine can never be held. When you live by that creed, you will find yourself moving from struggle to serenity, from confusion to clarity, from mere existence to divine expression. You will look back upon the old way of living, the worry, the haste, the endless trying, and smile, as one who finally remembered the rules of a game long forgotten. So, dear listener, may you play beautifully. May your words be wands, your faith be firm, your heart be light, and may you remember always, it is true, the game of life is rigged, but only in favor of the fearless. Look out for my next video. If this one resonated with you, please give it a like and subscribe. That way, we can continue this journey together.